Liane, you have many accolades behind your name. You're a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, you run your own successful business. And I love how you describe yourself on your website, Ashley, because it speaks to your fabulous personality. And I'm curious, how would you describe yourself if you couldn't describe what you do professionally?
Ooh, that's cool. Curious would be something that's true of me in all aspects of life. Playful would be another thing. And somebody who just loves to make deep connections with other humans.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And it ties in really well with what you do as well.
Yeah, I think, when whether people talk about finding your passion or whatever else, I don't worry too much about that. But this role for me is certainly a fit with just what gives me energy, what I'm good at. So yeah, I think I'm in the right job.
Awesome. And when did you discover that? A lot of people are searching for that fit or where their passion lies. How did you find that for yourself?
So the first major moment was failing calculus in first year university, like really belly flopping calculus. And so I needed to take it again the next year, but then I had to stall and take a bunch of courses that didn't have prerequisites. And so one of the courses I found was organizational psychology. And so second year university, September 1990, I found this course, and the course was looking at all of the team dynamics that affected the Space Shuttle Challenger crash. And just immediately I was like, I knew my field from the time I was 18, and that was not a question. Then it was figuring out, what was going to be my role in the field. And that's when I kind of, you can come at this field from many different ways. You can be the psychologist who assesses people, works with people one-on-one. You can be like the scientist who's trying to figure out the optimal ways to do things, or you can be like me, which is more a facilitator. So it took me longer to figure that out. I was probably, by the time I was about 35, I was getting the sense that no, I didn't want to do analysis behind the scenes, and I didn't want to do reporting and be the expert. I wanted to help create a conversation that wouldn't happen without me. So I clicked into facilitator at about 35, and then at 45, I figured out entrepreneur, which is, now very central to my identity. So I've, it's been the core field and being fascinated by how to make work. That's been there since I was 18, but little additional pieces of the puzzle have come on ever since.
And where do you think that fascination originated from, at 18?
Yeah. So one of the things I used to say, so as a kid, I used to watch this kids show called The Polka Dot Door. And in The Polka Dot Door, they used to, in every episode or many episodes, go on factory tours. And they would do, how they made crayons or how they made Q-tips or all these things. And from about 3, I was so into that. I just loved business and industry and all those sorts of things. And I think if I'd been good at engineering or things like that, I might have ended up as an industrial engineer, but that was not my speed. And so I think the very first time I took that organizational psychology class, I realized that in a knowledge economy, a team is the machine. And so it was then seeing like, oh, I'm good at this people stuff. And I can think of this, it takes a team to make crayons, not just machines, right? And so I think that's where it came from, was just, and to this day, like at 50, I still, anytime I can get a factory tour, I am there for the factory tour. And I've been so fortunate over my career. So I've been a mile underground in a nickel mine, been on the Mars chocolate factory line. I've been where they make Glade candles. So yeah, wow. I still try and get into factories whenever I can.
You co-founded your own company, 3 Co's, with your husband. What has that journey been like, and what excites you about the work that you do?
Oh, pretty much everything. So the journey has been exciting. So my husband and I quit our jobs on the same day to start this company, which, many would have thought was maybe reckless, but I just knew from the very beginning, I knew it was going to be okay. I knew that. So we had sort of saved up over the years to have about 6 months worth of cushion if we didn't have any income and we didn't need it. We came out of the gates quite quickly, and it was just successful from the beginning. Then it turned to, okay, well, we can keep doing what I've always done in consulting, or we can decide we want to build something that's actually a business. So something where we're starting to have intellectual property that is valuable beyond just Craig and me. And so that's been a big part of the journey. So, figuring out what was my next book going to be about, and getting deep into conflict and publishing The Good Fight. And then figuring out, how do we turn that into scalable tools so that we can help more people than just the one team at a time that we can help. And now the business challenge is about, how do we find partners who want to license our intellectual property so that we can grow without having to add employees or actually make this a company where we're spending more time managing the company than adding value to clients. So, Three Co's is and probably always will be just the two of us, but we've found these ways to grow and expand our capacity by having partners, by having amazingly talented advisors and coaches. So there's so many people that make Three Co's a success. But ultimately our goal is to keep the payroll to 2.
And Craig is a psychologist too.
He is, yeah. So we met on the very first day of graduate school, literally.
Okay. So he's done IO psychology as well.
So no, he studied neuropsychology. And so in the first year program, we were in many of the same classes. There's a lot of core skills you learn together. So all your statistics and your interviewing skills and your all the core psychologist stuff.
Right.
And then, he went and ended up finishing his PhD in behavioral neuroscience, and I stayed with the organizational psychology. So, we've been together since that very first day, and it's just a beautiful combination because his brilliance is really about individual performance and decision making and cognitive styles and all of that. And I'm not wired that way or good at that stuff. And so my expertise is really about the group and group dynamics and business strategy. So the complement of the two is really nice.
That's such a great fit. You're obviously with each other 24/7. So you're working.
Really during COVID, it's been
right. So what are some of those tricks or tips, that have helped you to to stay together and be productive and, run a successful business and a home and a family?
Yeah. Well, it's good to like each other. That's really important. And, that's, my parents told me that. My parents were married for 59 and a half years. And, they told me that from the beginning, which is the spark, the romance, the novelty wears off in a relationship. So marry someone you like, because that will still be there. So, I think Craig and I have in common a real curiosity about the world. So constantly at dinners, we're, pulling out a phone to Google something and, or share an article. Hey, did you see this article this morning? No. Okay. I'll share it with you. We're just interested in things together. The other secret of success in the business is that we have very different roles. So we don't get in each other's way on our roles, because we very much respect what the other person brings as being unique and different from what we bring. And so that really helps as well. And then, Craig's a big runner. So I figure that's just a couple hours a day to get a break from me.
Out of the house.
And what for me, it's dance classes every Tuesday and Wednesday. I take tap dancing and hip hop as my chance to just sweat it out and get out of the house. You cannot tap dance and worry about anything else while you're tap dancing. It's not humanly possible. So it's a great stress reliever.